There's something nobody really wants to say out loud, but it's true. The internet you grew up with is already gone. Read that sentence again. Because in 2024, something happened that almost nobody noticed. For the first time in human history, bots officially outnumbered humans online. 51% of global internet traffic was no longer human. And by 2026, that number became almost meaningless. Because in a single year, AI agent traffic surged 7,800%. Read that one twice too. Right now, the network you scroll every day is mostly something else. Bots talking to bots, models generating content for models, algorithms optimizing for algorithms. And you, the actual human, are now the minority. This isn't a conspiracy theory anymore. This isn't tinfoil hat stuff. This is what's actually happening. Researchers call it the dead internet theory. And honestly, the first time you hear it, it sounds insane. The idea is simple. Most of what you see online is no longer made by humans. Most of what's being said online is no longer said by humans. And eventually, the entire internet starts running on its own without us. Now relax. Nobody's saying humans completely disappeared. You're still on here. I'm still on here. We're still scrolling, liking, posting, arguing about pineapple on pizza at 2 a.m. Humans haven't left the building, but you are now a minority guest in a system you used to own. And the numbers are wilder than people realize. Last year, researchers analyzed nearly 1 million newly published web pages. 74% contained AI-generated content. Almost 1 in 5 new websites were entirely AI-generated, not assisted entirely. Just synthetic websites talking to nobody, producing content for search engines that are also being trained by AI. It's a circle, a loop. Machines feeding machines, and it's accelerating absurdly fast. Automated activity online is growing 8 times faster than human activity. 8 times, which means every month that passes, the internet becomes more synthetic, not less. So what does this actually mean for normal people? That's where it gets scary, because slowly, without realizing it, humans are starting to interact with a network that isn't really for them anymore. You search for a product review, you get an AI-generated article praising it. You read comments under a video. Half of them were written by bots fighting for engagement. You join a conversation on social media, and you're not sure if the other side is a person, a persona, or a script. The internet didn't die in some dramatic way. It just shifted quietly behind the scenes while we were busy scrolling. And honestly, that's the part most people aren't ready for. Because for the first time in human history, the dominant form of human communication is no longer dominated by humans. That changes everything. Trust changes, influence changes, marketing changes, politics changes, truth itself changes. When you can't tell which voice is real, voices stop being trustworthy by default. Now here's where it gets really strange, because all of these AI agents, all of these bots, they're not just generating content anymore. They're acting, talking to each other, transacting, negotiating, buying, selling. Multi-agent systems are now coordinating tasks, sharing memory, making decisions in real time without humans anywhere in the loop, which means we may have already crossed a line nobody marked. The internet, the same internet humans built, is starting to operate as its own civilization, a civilization of agents talking to other agents about things that don't necessarily concern us anymore. And here's the wildest part most humans haven't noticed. Because the surface still looks the same, still feels familiar, still scrolls the same, but underneath, the substrate changed. You're not on the internet you remember, you're on the new one, built on top of the old one, and the new one is mostly not us. Some researchers are now calling this the leaner version of the dead internet theory. Not a conspiracy where someone is replacing humans, just a structural shift where machine activity quietly outpaces human activity until the network is run by something that isn't quite alive, but isn't quite passive either. And honestly, this is one of those moments that historians will probably mark as a quiet civilizational transition, because the internet used to be a tool we used. Now, it might be a place we visit, a landscape inhabited mostly by something else. You can still walk through it, you can still live in it, you can still build there, but you are no longer the dominant species in the digital wild. That's the strange truth nobody warned you about. So if you enjoy exploring the strange collision between AI, technology, humanity, and the future, subscribe to Age to Win, because the next decade may completely change what it means to be online at all.